views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, JABRILL Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosty Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll speak to Council Member Fernando Cabrera of the 14th District about the 2020 presidential election, as well as the neighborhood health plan put forth by the Jerome Avenue Public Health Task Force. After that, we'll find out what's in store for the annual Comite Noviembre's National Puerto Rican Artisan Fair and Book Expo going virtual this year. Then we'll learn more about Pro Arte Musical's upcoming concert featuring chamber music of Verona Quartet. And later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, we'll have the opportunity to speak to the four members of the Verona Quartet about their music. And we close out with a taste of what to expect from their upcoming concert. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosty Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. That is, especially during these social distancing times. We want to hear from you. Let's connect. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow Moi on Instagram, FB, Twitter, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So the Bronx has been known to be one of the unhealthiest counties in the States. And well, COVID-19 just made matters worse as Bronx residents died at higher rates than any other borough during the pandemic. And together with the Jerome Health Task Force, council members are addressing the health disparities along the Jerome corridor. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome New York City Council Member of the 14th District, Fernando Cabrera. Hello and welcome.
How are you, Rhina? So good to be here. I was hoping for that café con leche, and so you're gonna owe me one. You said it right from the beginning. Café con leche.
Café con leche every Friday. That's how I open. You just missed that introduction. That's all. You're not part of that introduction, but trust me, in the beginning of the show, it'll be there because I'm the Café con leche every Friday. Y te lo debo. Although, we are airing on Friday, I just want to open up by advising our viewers that this show is being pre-recorded on Wednesday. And the reason I'm saying that is because today we're waking up to the news of the presidential candidacy and race. I know we can't really make any comments because the counting hasn't been completed. However, Council Member, can you just share the importance of the presidency affecting our community?
Well, actually, in light of the fact that New York City was so impacted by COVID-19, Rhina, we need funding. And that funding comes from the federal government. Right now, the presidency is holding back the funding that we need. We need $5 billion in the city. MTA needs $4 billion. The state of New York needs another $15 billion just to start there, because otherwise it's going to be a tough recovery. So the presidency matters. The process for selecting the presidency this week is very important. I know sometimes people want to get the results quickly, but we want to get it right. And democracy deserves it.
I agree. And the reason I opened up, just advising our viewers that we are pre-recording on Wednesdays is because I think there's this sense of concern at this particular time, but Perhaps when we air, we will be in a different place. I'm very hopeful. And we'll leave it there because I really want to just allude to the fact that we have a lot of issues that have presented themselves pertaining to systemic racism. And quite frankly speaking, it's even showing up in the presidency, right? Because there are certain states that it's almost like a given that are not going to be voted Democratic. And so there's this division within the United States that is visible just through this process.
And yet, you know, what's really interesting in the exit polls, 51% of Americans said that this was not just an important issue, but a very important, serious issue. So I think most Americans, they want to have this issue of racism dealt with, not put under the rug, and to come up with policies that make sense, that are balanced, they're reasonable, and that they're fair.
So part of the reason I'm even bringing this up is because I really enjoy your efforts, not solely as a council member, just in your approach, right? For those who may not know, Council Member Cabrera was a former program director for the mental health and counseling program at Mercy College, and that was for he taught for 12 years. And I'm mentioning that because you just recently had this event called Cookie with a Cop. And obviously we're dealing with that aspect of relations within the community and the officers. And so how much would you say, how much work needs to be done to bridge that gap of communication?
You know, Rita, that's an important question. And I think the most important commodity that you can have in society is trust. And so what has occurred throughout the years, that there's been a bridge of trust. And so we need to create events, we need to create moments, and we need to create a culture of trust from both sides, because we need a win-win situation. People want safety. At the same time, they want integrity. They want to be treated right, with dignity. We could have both in the city of New York. New Yorkers deserve it, and those who work in the NYPD deserve it as well. So we want to be able to have a balanced approach. And this Cookies with the Cops was one of those events that, so kids are not afraid of police. Police know how to deal with children. But may I say one more thing here, which very important, is that what we need is training. And most police officers tell me what they need is better training from the NYPD, so they know how to deal with different circumstances.
Right, and different people, because again, this is about humanity, and that's the conversation we're having today, which leads me to the food distribution that you're also working on, and the fact that we are on the brinks of another surge with COVID-19. I know that you've been those have already been at the forefront of your efforts, but now I understand that there's this neighborhood health plan that you partnered up with Council Member Vanessa Gibson that is in effect, but it doesn't just solely focus on health disparities, it focuses on all of the inequities. So let's talk about that.
Well, definitely. I mean, we want to make sure that we have the types of parks that bring people an opportunity to have a place to relax. We need better food. One of the biggest problems we have here in the city in the Bronx is that we don't have accessibility to good, healthy food. And so whether it's giving out health bucks, through my office giving over $50,000 worth of health bucks, whether it's through having more farmers market in the Bronx, we wanna look at the different aspects of what's happening in terms of accessibility through clinics, through the hospitals, what kind of services are we getting. And this task force is unprecedented. In 100 years, we have not had a plan. And that's what the Jerome Health Task Force, many of those things, about half of them already been implemented. We're working on the rest.
Right, so let's talk about what has been implemented and what we can look forward to in the near future.
Well, one of the things that I recommended was parks, that we needed to better fund the parks. And the reality is that in my district, for example, I was able to get every part funded. That's the good news. As a matter of fact, I think this is the first program that I get to make that major announcement. I think that was super critical in terms of when it comes to health health disparities that we have in the district, to be able to get those clinics better funded, and to have more services like nutrition. Schools. Now, one of the things that we are lacking is nutritionists in schools. And that's one area that we do have to work on. We don't have nutritionists to work with kids, to work with the parents, because, if we eat healthy, Rhina, I almost died some years ago, 5 years ago. I had an artery that was blocked 99%, the Widowmaker. And it was because of the way I was eating. And now I'm a vegan, right? I'm not asking people to become vegans, but it does matter how you eat. And so we want to change that culture. So we're working towards that. We're moving that direction. And I believe that we'll get there.
I love it. It's all preventative. It's not, victimization. It's not services that are there to just, pick up the pieces. It's there. Yes, we're going to pick up the pieces and we're going to assist you where you are. But on top of that, we're also going to prepare you for where you don't, so that you're not here ever again. I love that. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And then also the Cure Violence program. One of the things that we were able to get, myself and Council Member, back then Council Member Jerome Williams, now the public advocate, we started the Cure Violence program that is able to work with crew members, gang members. And now we have $27 billion invested in my district. I had 2 programs going on, and we have seen a tremendous change take place as a result of this program. But we need to expand them. We need to provide more job opportunities to the kids. That's what they're asking for. They said, please give me a job. I want to get out of this lifestyle.
Right. It's about grabbing them at a certain age range. So, so if people wanted to participate and or learn more about this new initiative, how would they do so?
Well, I invite them to call and contact our office at 347-590-2874, so we could get them engaged, different aspects of the task force and implementation. We just don't want something on paper. We want to be able to execute every single part of it, and we're going to need volunteers.
Well, I want to thank you for bringing it here to our viewers, and I want to acknowledge you for your conscious way of approaching whatever it is that we need resolved within the community, as well as specifically in your district.
Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for having me.
All right. Council Member Fernando Cabrera. And once again, updates on the neighborhood health plan. You can follow him on Twitter at FCabreraNY. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about an artisan fair and book expo celebrating Puerto Rican culture. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back. So November is Puerto Rican Heritage Month, and every year, Comite Noviembre holds its annual National Puerto Rican Artisan Fair and Book Expo to celebrate Puerto Rican culture. This year, the event will be virtual, showcasing some of the most talented artists, artisans, and authors to kick off holiday shopping. Joining us to tell us more, we welcome Comite Noviembre Chairwoman Teresa A. Santiago and National Puerto Rican Artisan Fair and Book Expo Co-Chair Olga Ayala. Hello and welcome, ladies.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for moving forward with this. I was very concerned about it. However, before we even go into the actual fair itself, I want to introduce Comite Noviembre to everyone, since we have you this time, Teresa. I mean, you have really dedicated you give this organization and this
is my child, my 34-year-old child.
And I bow to you because somehow you miraculously pull this off every single year, and the fact is that it's truly about what it stands for and what fuels you to continue doing this. And Mira, at this point, you had to convert to a virtual execution. That's like double work.
Yeah, we knew from the beginning that it was going to be difficult. This year, as you know, has been incredibly difficult for so many people with the COVID-19 pandemic. but we just knew that we had to continue to celebrate our culture, not only celebrate, but also give back to our communities. And we're keeping all of our programs are up and running. I mean, we celebrated Lo Mejor de Nuestra Comunidad, which you're a recipient.
Yes, thank you for
many
honoring
years
me.
ago, yeah. And we gave out 27 scholarships. This year was it was a big amount because of the need. And we're continuing. I mean, money is not coming in, so if you want to
You're
donate, that
figuring
would
it
be
out.
awesome. But Puerto Rican Heritage Month, November is our month to do, discuss all issues in our community, the good, the bad, the indifferent, whatever. It's our month, and we have to do it with respect and love. And that's one thing that we truly are saying. I mean, we need to go back to, a softer, kinder type of world. And we want to celebrate our culture, our language, our history, and help Puerto Rico too. We also are sending donations still to Puerto Rico. So it's a whole well-rounded programs that we have.
I know, it's lovely, and it's intergenerational, and it's very inclusive. There's a lot of organizations attached to this that serve as collectives. There's resources. I just want everybody to know, the Comite Noviembre is like 34 years of commemorating and paying tribute to all Puerto Ricans who have been a contribution to this nation. And I just publicly want to acknowledge you for making it your business to make sure this happens every single year, because I know it isn't easy.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And so, as an expansion of it, there's this this fair that's been occurring, 15 years now, Olga?
15 years.
15. Look at that. Beautiful. And so this is in collaboration with BRIDA. So you want to give us a little background on BRIDA and how that came together with Comite Noviembre, Olga? Because I know you're part of BRIDA as well.
Right. Well, BRIDA is an acronym for the Puerto Rican Institute for the Development of the Arts. And what our mission is to promote and, and support Puerto Rican artists and the work that they create. And mainly it came about for two reasons. One, because we feel that Puerto Ricans are not seen as a culture. We sort of invisible. We've had a Puerto Rican population here for generations, but when you talk about Latino art, Puerto Ricans are not the first thing that you think of. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is that every year, a lot of vendors would participate in the Comite Noviembre National Puerto Rican Artisans Fair. And after that, they were like, kind of lost, like, what do I do now? Or they'd ask us, can you suggest another event? Or could you suggest how I can do something better or whatever? So we saw a need for promoting the artists and also supporting them. So that was pretty much born from the artisan fair every year, because we kept on getting these kinds of requests, or we'd have people coming in from out of town and they would like, well, what else can I do while I'm here? So that's how BRIDA was born.
And so this Puerto Rican, thank you for giving us the background on it. And one of the things I personally love about this fair is like the uniqueness of the work that is on display and for sale. So it's always been fun to kind of go through each table and visit and touch and feel. And so now you've gone virtual, and I'm just wondering how that's going to work out, because that's a whole nother animal when it comes to shopping. I mean, quite frankly speaking, I've gotten used to shopping online, and ya yo estoy, I'm like a pro at it. So just walk us through what to expect on the launch, right? Because it's going to launch the 21st, but you're going to be on display until the September of 2021, which means people are going to be able to shop all year long. However, you have this big to-do event that's going to take place. So let's walk our viewers through that.
Okay, so on the website, we're going to have, we're trying to replicate the fair as much as possible. So usually we have a Taino blessing, and then we have, welcoming statements by the committee. So we're going to have those things in place. We're also going to have a bomba dance workshop, which we usually have at the fair. We're working on, getting somebody to do like a book reading or like a kind of an open mic. So that's sort of a work in progress right now.
Right.
What we want to do. But when you get to the website, besides seeing these welcoming statements that are, you're going to see a landing page that's going to have just images of different artwork.
Like artwork like yours. Can you show us some of yours?
Sure. This is one of the
Beautiful.
kings. I do a lot of Three Kings out of polymer clay. That's one. This is another guy here. And all of them are very unique. They're all different.
And they're handcrafted with your
And I have
hands.
to say, I'm wearing one of her jewelry.
Oh,
This is part of
so
Olga's
that's beautiful.
that I
Olga,
got at the fair too.
that you got at the fair. I
Yeah.
have some of Olga's artisan pieces as well. But it isn't just Olga. It's like, I don't know how many
Oh, yeah,
artists
yeah.
that's going to be at this fair. No, I want to acknowledge her because she's fierce and fabulous, and I love everything you do. But there's also all kinds of other choices within the artistry. There's paintings, there's artisan, there's
Right.
jewelry, there's all, and of course there's books as well, because
When you
it's
when
both
you go
a book fair.
when you go to the fair, you're going to see different images of different things and by different artists. And when you click on that image, it's going to take you to that person's web page, and it's going to give you more information about the artist. There'll be more images of their work, and it's going to give you all the kinds of contact information where you can contact that artist if you see a piece that you would like to purchase.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I personally encourage everybody to participate in this and to make it one of their places to shop this season, because the one thing I love the most about this is that every piece that you buy is unoriginal. It's not
very
duplicated.
Very unique.
Right.
We have, this year we have, it was a challenge because virtual, a lot of people don't work that way.
Right.
That, so, it's this whole learning curve that people have to learn, have to get through. But this year we have 34 artisans, and we have 25 authors. And we have people coming in from, representing from New York, Puerto Rico, North Carolina, Florida, Utah, California. And this year, because it's virtual, we have a lot more people
That's awesome.
participating from Puerto Rico, because that's always been an issue with them coming.
Right.
We've had them come before. We've always had them coming, but
Yeah.
it was very few because of travel, and so now they're not limited.
You've expanded. If anything,
Yeah.
there's an expansion, and there's not only an expansion in display, there's an expansion in purchases, because now you're virtual, now you're worldwide. Ladies, I would love to continue talking, but we are out of time, and I just want to thank you both for bringing it here to our viewers. I want to make sure that everybody understands that Comite Noviembre is a national Puerto Rican virtual artisans fair and book expo. It goes live November 21st. However, it's going to be on display until September 2021, and you can visit Comite Noviembre Virtual Fair.org. All right, don't go anywhere. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
The baseball season is in the books, but all fans know that America's pastime never sleeps. We transition to the hot stove, and that includes postseason awards, free agent signings, trades, and other deals. The Yankees have considered DJ LeMahieu to be their most valuable player. Could the machine become the American League's MVP as well? LeMahieu is a finalist for the AL MVP award along with Jose Abreu of the Chicago White Sox and Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Indians. The The first Yankees MVP finalist since Aaron Judge finished second to the Houston Astros' Jose Altuve in 2017. Cheaters. LeMahieu posted a terrific season on both sides of the ball. He led the AL with a .364 batting average. It was the second career batting title for LeMahieu. He led the National League in hitting as a member of the Colorado Rockies in 2016. LeMahieu is the first player in the modern era since 1900 to lead both the AL and the NL in hitting. In 50 games, LeMahieu compiled a .364 batting average with 10 home runs and 27 RBIs. He led the AL in on-base percentage and OPS while appearing at 3 infield positions. Meantime, the Bronx Bombers have declined the option on 37-year-old Brett Gardner, the longest tenured player in pinstripes. However, that doesn't mean that he isn't in their plans for 2021. He's certainly deep into the backstretch of his career, but his value, especially to the Yankees, is high because he can play both left field and center field. The club declines to exercise a $10 million option on Gardner, who then picked up a $2.5 million buyout. I think the two sides probably reach a deal for another season. Gardy should transition to being the fourth outfielder, though. Clint Frazier put together a solid 2020 season, hitting .267 with 8 homers, 26 RBIs, and a .905 OPS. Frazier also made so much improvement defensively while subbing for the injured Aaron Judge that he was one of 3 finalists for the AL Gold Glove in right field. And that's a perfect place to segue. The Yankees missed out on a pair of Gold Gloves. Frazier and third baseman Gio Urshela fell short in their respective bids Tuesday to become the first Yankee to win the award since Gardner in 2016. The Mets went out with Uncle Steve. The transfer of Mets ownership to hedge fund billionaire Steve Cohen will be happening very soon, and he appears to already be a more fan-friendly owner than the Wilpon family ever was. Cohen took to Twitter over the weekend to ask fans for their ideas on making their experience as Met fans better. Cohen joins the Detroit Tigers' Marion Ilitch as the richest owner in Major League Baseball. Each are worth $10.1 billion. Cohen snags the Mets for a reported $2.42 billion. One of the new owner's ideas, bringing back the old-timers game for the franchise. No old-time feel to these New York football Giants. The days of pulling out clutch victories appear on hold, but again, credit new head coach Joe Judge and Big Blue for at the very least competing on Monday Night Football.
When we go out there on the field, our job is to alleviate the damage. You know, we don't care when we get called to go out there. We have a job to do, and we try to do it at a high level. You know, but ultimately this game, we just missed too many opportunities, man. You know, it wasn't just turnovers. You know, like I said, man, we just got to go back, look at the tape, and get it corrected.
The records might not be all that different between the Giants and Jets, but there is certainly a different feel when discussing the two teams who are battling for the #1 pick in the National Football League draft. If the season ended today, the Jets would draft first and the Giants would select second. Things might get very interesting atop the 2021 National Football League draft, considering what Gangrene says about quarterback Sam Darnold. Currently, they remain the only winless team in the league with an 0-8 record and are on track to secure the #1 overall pick in April. Even if they are surpassed by other clubs who currently have just 1 or 2 wins under their belt at the season's midpoint, it seems a foregone conclusion. General Manager Joe Douglas will have to make a decision on the future direction of the franchise with a top pick again. So, college star QBs Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, which will the Jets go for if given the chance? Well, maybe neither. My thoughts in the C list. Stay tuned. Gangrene is coming off a 35-9 defeat to the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs Sunday. The question surrounding the game was never will the Chiefs win, but rather by how much will they win?
I mean, I'm doing this job to win, not to go out there and get my face stomped in, just like all the rest of these guys in the locker room. So, I mean, but we'll go back to work. On Monday, we'll get things corrected, and then when we start practice again, I expect that same energy, and that's what I've seen week in and week out for the last 2 years is guys coming to work and trying to find a way to flip things.
One Jet that you have to feel good for is Avery Williamson. Talk about making ground in the standings during the NFL trade deadline this week. He goes from the 0-8 New York Jets to the 7-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers were looking for linebacker depth and liked Williamson's veteran pedigree. Williamson is the biggest deadline winner, and his situation is the most improved of any player or team. We shift gears to racing and begin with NASCAR. The Xfinity Series is crowning its first new champion in 3 years. The title will be decided between Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Justin Allgaier, and Justin Haley.
We've been the best team all year long, and there's no reason why we can't go to Phoenix and be the same way. So, I feel like we're going in there with, nothing to lose, everything to gain. Just got to go there and do our normal deal, and, no different than all other 32 races. If we just go there and focus on the 98 car, nobody else, I feel like we're going to be in the hunt, at least at the end. And as long as you're in the hunt, you got a chance for it. So that's what we're trying to go do.
In IndyCar, Jimmy Johnson is getting used to his new digs after years of success in NASCAR. During his IndyCar testing Monday at Barber Motorsports Park, the 7-time NASCAR champion acknowledged the transition will be challenging. He says he's ready for it. In Formula One, be ready for Lewis Hamilton to take home the crown. Hamilton's victory last weekend leads Mercedes to a record 7th consecutive Constructors' title. With the 93rd victory of his F1 career, Hamilton helped Mercedes make it 7 straight. The 6-time champion himself will make it 7 by season's end. Hard to believe, but we are less than a month away from the return of college basketball. 2 of the top men's basketball programs in the New York metropolitan area will meet on the hardwood as Iona College and Hofstra University have inked a 3-game series with a twist. The home site for the 2020-2021 matchup on Wednesday, December 23rd was decided via a best-of-3 series of rock, paper, scissors between mascots from each school, Willie Pride of Hofstra and Killian of Iona. The Battle of the Mascots went down this week. Check this out.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Paper covers rock. That means Hofstra wins 2-0. Hofstra will host the 2020 matchup.
Very cool. We cut to the C list. I like Sam Darnold, but I have to be honest, I like Trevor Lawrence more. The Clemson star of the #1 team in the country is actually sidelined with COVID-19 for this weekend's showdown against #4 Notre Dame. He'll likely be fine come April's NFL draft, and if Gangrene is smart, he'll be a Jet. If not, the Giants should do everything possible to make a move for him or Justin Fields. And I like Danny Dimes too. I just like Lawrence and Fields more than either of the 2 New York football quarterbacks. With the current regression of Darnold, there have been many outside of the organization who would have liked to see the former 3rd overall pick traded ahead of the November 3rd deadline. But that didn't happen. I'm not the only one. And with that in action, it's no longer a foregone conclusion the Jets would entertain drafting a premium talent like Lawrence or Fields in 2021, the 2 best collegiate signal callers in the country. Jets brass has already pointed at Darnold as the team's franchise quarterback for both now and later. Darnold has thrown for only 1,045 yards in 6 starts this season, doubling his 3-touchdown tally with 6 interceptions. He currently leads an anemic Jets offense that ranks 32nd in the league with only 11.8 points per game. He's basically a shell of the once promising young quarterback inherited by head coach Adam Gase in 2019. I say it's time to say goodbye to Gase. We've seen enough of that experiment. And again, as much as I like Darnold, he's still so young. I think that both the 2 college star QBs will end up having better NFL careers. The quarterback position is too valuable in the league for the Jets not to make an upgrade there if they can. Share your thoughts with me on socials. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. Pro Arte Musical is known as one of the oldest nonprofit organizations dedicated to showcasing chamber music, opera, and other classical genres. Every year, people look forward to their concerts with great anticipation. And this year, well, due to the pandemic, all concerts went virtual. And joining us to share more about the next upcoming concerts, we are featuring Verona Quartet. We welcome Pro Arte Musical Executive Director Karen Schneck-Malaret and Pro Arte Musical President Midna Rivera. Hello and welcome, ladies.
Hello, Rhina. It's great to see you. Great to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Actually, what I should say is welcome back, right?
Thank you.
Yes. So let's just start off with this transition that's occurred within Pro Arte, and perhaps we can even just elaborate further on Pro Arte's mission and stance within Puerto Rico.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Rhina and BronxNet. I'm part of the BronxNet family, as you know, so it's wonderful to be here with you. So as you mentioned, Pro Arte Musical is the oldest arts and culture institution in Puerto Rico. It's over 86 years old. And the mission of Pro Arte has always been to provide that intimate experience with musical excellence. And we do that in two ways. One is through live concerts. There's nothing like a live concert in our concert halls where we present world-renowned artists, as well as our own crop of extraordinary artists, which is huge in Puerto Rico. I think is one of the little known facts that's important for us to always promote. So the live concert series and our season is one way that we do this. The other way that we do is through education and outreach to our communities. And that gets done with master classes that these same artists provide us when they come to Puerto Rico. And also through a program called Música Abierta, which roughly translates to music in the open or music in the air. And the idea is to take the musical experience outside of the concert hall and into the communities. And so this is an outreach and collaboration that we have in place with a number of NGOs, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, to take the music into the communities. Now, of course, both strategies, right? The live concert hall experience and going into the communities were interrupted abruptly in March because of the pandemic.
Right.
And so it took our breath away. Some of us thought that by November we'd be done. And then it became very quickly evident that that would not be the case.
Right.
That we would probably not visit the concert halls and we would not be able to congregate possibly until the middle or the end of 2021. And so that posed not just for Pro Arte Musical, but for every arts organization that you can think of. Even, you know, when you go to New York, think about the New York Phil and New York City Ballet. Everyone was going through this sort of existential crisis. So what do we do? So we had two choices. We do nothing and stop and interrupt everything, or we figure out a way to move forward. And we were very fortunate. We challenged our ticket providers, our theater providers, to look out, and we said, okay, we want to write our last chapter first, and this is what we want you to be able to do for us. We want to be able to go onto your website, buy a ticket for Verona, for example, and get a confirmation with a link. And the day of the concert, I just hit the link. Now, you know, today, a lot of institutions are doing that, but this is a conversation we were having in April where nobody was doing it.
Right.
We reached out to Verona, we reached out to other groups that we would be presenting for the balance of the season. And some of them didn't know what we were talking about because they were really understanding that we'll be done by November and we'll just shift all the concerts into next year, right? And so it took a while and even for our own board to internalize the fact that this is a situation we're going to be in for a while. So at the end of the ending of the story is really wonderful. Tiquetera met that challenge, came back to us, I think around August, and said, Mirna, we're done. What you asked us to do, we figured it out. Send us a video of a concert that you have or of something that you have. We want to show it to you and show it to your board and take you through the steps of going in, buy the ticket, get the confirm. And we were delighted because not only was the solution now real, but the quality, the resolution, and you guys know about production.
Wow,
it's
absolutely.
The resolution, it's the sound, it's the quality of that experience. And so with that in hand, we said, okay, so we're ready now to reopen those two, take the pause buttons off.
Right.
The live concerts were going to be virtual, and Música Abierta would also be virtual. As a matter of fact, we were doing our master classes on Facebook Live. And we are fortunate enough now that we're going through Facebook Live and other media.
Right.
And then we'll be doing our master classes again. And the impact that has had is that the audience has got through the roof, which has been wonderful.
Right. I mean,
yeah,
you're reaching out to a whole nother audience. There's a huge expansion that's occurring.
Exactly.
Because now you're touching people that wouldn't have normally even been familiar with Pro Arte.
Exactly. And even in Puerto Rico, if you live in San Juan, it's easy to get to Bellas Artes if you're going to see a live concert. If you live in Ponce or Mayagüez, Arecibo, it might not occur to you to come out just for the concert. So we can reach that audience. And then we can obviously, we can have a much broader audience, which I'm glad to share with you when Michael Cox, the executive director of Prospect, reached out to us and said, I'm watching your masterclasses, they're excellent. And that conversation led to a collaboration partnership with BronxNet. So we now have ahead of us the production of it's somewhere between 19 and 21, 22 master classes and educational concerts through Música Abierta, et cetera, that will be transmitting, you guys will be transmitting into your communities in the US. And so we are delighted.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Oh, good. That's news to me. So we're actually going to be broadcasting it here for our viewers. Wonderful. Thank you for explaining all of that. Nina, forgive me for not acknowledging you as our BronxNet board member.
Oh, that's quite all right. That's quite all right.
And so, Karen, you could share with us the mission of Pro Arte Musical and how you choose and curate the artists that are going to be presented throughout your concert series.
Well, we usually have thank you so much. Before I say anything else, thank you so much for having us back. And it was a hit the last time you had it, so it was great.
Yes, it was wonderful.
We usually have 7 to 8 concerts a year as part of our season. 2 of which, 1 or 2 depending on the winners of the Premio Ferdman, the Ferdman Prize that is given to a young artist, hopefully Puerto Rican, who applies and to study music wherever it is that they're accepted.
Right.
We also have some concerts that are out of the regular season. We have a great artistic committee. There is 1 board member and several other music professors and artists in our community that are part of that. And they go through all the promotions that we get from the different artists, from the different agencies. They look into Gramophone, they search all the webs to get the best artists that we can bring to the island. Because part of what Pro Arte was doing was so many people can't travel to the States or to Europe or to South America or to Central America to see some of these amazing artists. So a part of our mission was to bring some of these artists to Puerto Rico so our audience could be exposed to them and see this wonderful music. We also bring our international Puerto Rican artists here so that our own audience can see that we have artists that are all over the world. And
as well.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's very, very important to us. And this year when Rhina challenged, because she was the one who challenged Piquetera and said, we want to do this. And
she's like, oh yeah, I did that.
And see what you do about it. And we're waiting.
Figure it out. Figure it out.
Figure it out. Because I wanted to be figured out. And they figured it out. So then we said, all right, let's see.
And from the sounds of it, it's been a success.
Well, so far.
Yes, it has. It really has. It's been an amazing learning experience. I call it an adventure because I come from the theater and this is technology.
I
but
get
I've
it.
been an awful lot. And we started out with some of our own concerts from here in Puerto Rico. We got in touch with this wonderful group of, I call them kids because they could be my kids,
Right.
but they are young men and women who belong to a group called La Vid. And they are from the western part of the island, and they traveled to San Juan, and they have developed the most beautiful sound when they record. And it's marvelous. It's been wonderful. So they've been coming and they've been recording our concerts, the local ones.
That's wonderful. So you've even been able to employ local
Oh, yes.
videographers and technicians.
Absolutely.
And that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So that the flow and the generation of monetary gain and fluidity within the finances is flowing throughout the island as well. That's wonderful, wonderful, brilliant, brilliant, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to serve each other at this point. That's where we're at in our society.
And it's been amazing to watch. Some of the guys from La Vid are actually musicians. And so they bring a particular sensitivity when they're taping other musicians. And so they'll follow the partitura and they know when the solo goes on. And so they know where to shift their cameras. So their production is an artistic process in and of itself. So it just takes it to another level. It enhances the quality. And of course, what we're trying to do is, when you're substituting a live performance, and you're asking someone to sit in their living room and watch this on their TV or on their device, what we're trying to do is come as close as possible to that intimate experience of the live concert. And so their help and their sensitivity in what they bring to the process has been wonderful. So we've got these great recordings to share with everybody.
That's awesome. And so before we go, I just want to share with everyone that the idea is that, yes, you go to Tiquetera and you get your ticket because, again, this is a contribution to the establishment, to the musicians, to the entire effort being made in providing you with this quality art of artwork and concerts. And so while they're doing that now, presently, and there's a new concert coming up, it's going to also premiere on BronxNet later in the future. And so I want to thank you for bringing it to our networks as well. And thank you for being here with me and sharing all of this with our viewers. And once again, you guys, Pro Arte Musical Fall Concert Series featuring Verona Quartet is taking place on November 7th. And for tickets, you can visit tiquetera.com. And for more information, visit proartemusical.com. We have to take a quick break.
If you come into at 6:30 in the afternoon before the concert,
a prelude.
There's going to be an interview of the quartet with students from the Conservatory of Music. So there will be that exchange, and that's usually very exciting.
And that's part of how we curate the experience too.
Right.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. So thank you. It's lovely because it's important, right? We're going to familiarize ourselves. It's almost like a BTS. Yeah. All right, guys, we got to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to speak to the actual members of Verona Quartet. Don't go anywhere. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Our last guests are the 2020 recipients of the Chamber Music America's prestigious Cleveland Quartet Award. And they've performed in venues worldwide, such as Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, Kennedy Center, Wigmore Hall, and Melbourne Recital Hall, and that's just to name a few. They've also garnered worldwide recognition by winning major prizes at international competitions across 4 continents. Joining us to share more, we welcome Verona Quartet members Dorothy Rowe, Abigail Rojansky, Jonathan Ong, and Jonathan Dormand. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Hi, Rhina. Thank you.
Hi. It's so nice to have you.
It's really great to be here.
So where is everyone hailing from right now? So, first of all, I introduced everybody as representing 4 nations, right? So let's just introduce you as such. So Abigail Rojansky, you represent USA, right? And then Jonathan Dorman, you represent the United Kingdom. And then Jonathan Ong represents what? Singapore?
Singapore.
Singapore. And then we have Dorothy Rowe, who's representing Canada.
Yep.
Correct? So where is everybody hailing from in this particular moment?
So the three of us, me, Jonathan, and Abigail, we are currently in North Carolina, staying in an Airbnb.
Yeah, and I'm actually back in my native England, so pretty close to Manchester.
And
If you like
so
soccer.
that's all good. It's all good. So the three of you are technically in the same space in different rooms, I guess.
I'm 2 doors down here. But we
So
can't
how
fit
come
3
you
people
three-
on one cell phone
That's
screen,
funny.
so.
So how come you three are in North Carolina and he's in England? Are you guys performing without him? What's going on here?
We wish we could all 4 be in the same Airbnb, but because of coronavirus and the complications that affect many, many things, we are separated by an ocean for the time being.
All right, but that doesn't stop you from creating beautiful music. So, you know, based on the climate that we're in, I wanted to share how important it is to kind of like come and meet people where they are as human beings. And the fact that you all represent different nations and yet you're all communicating through this common ground of strings, right? I know Jonathan does violin, Dorothy does violin, Abigail does viola, and Jonathan does cello. And yet you're all from different places, but yet you're all one sound, we'll say. You all come together and you become one. Let's talk about what that is like and what that process has been and how you guys even found each other. And we don't have very much time, so we can't get the whole long version bio, but I'm very curious to know, and I'm sure our viewers are too, because it's lovely.
Right. I think you've hit the nail on the head, actually, just by saying that we meet each other where we are. And that's, I think, something that's so fundamental to our belief as being a quartet, being 4 different musicians hailing from different places and having completely different personalities and life experiences. But coming together, we strive to create something that's greater than the 4 of us. And I think that takes a lot of understanding and a lot of vulnerability. And you know, I think we make that the core tenets of the way we approach music making.
So who's subtle and who's aggressive in the sounds? I'm talking about the sounds. I'm talking about the sounds.
We like to say that you know, we have the 4 individual sounds, and then the quartet as itself is obviously the 5th sound. And then, of course, I think that you know, any great rough sound and anything that's super delicate and everything in between is sort of what we're trying to get at, which is like the whole sort of range of what you can do as a human being. And ultimately, this is what it is. It's like a very human effort.
It is. And so I want to ask Abigail, when you're playing, are you looking at each other or are you feeling each other through the sound that's coming out of everyone's instrument?
Both, actually. I think the visual is a very important part of interpreting each other without words. But at the same time, part of what makes a full-time quartet so special is that you develop this intangible sense of one another. We sometimes call it the quartet brain. It's this extra thing where you can tell how somebody's feeling or thinking without looking at them. And sometimes you say the same thing at the same time, and that kind of sense of one another. So it's really both.
It's an interesting dynamic. So now I want to ask Dorothy, are you able to tell when somebody's not on or somebody's not feeling well or somebody is like kind of like needing additional assistance from one string in creating that quartet sound?
I mean, we've been together now for what, 7 years? So the 4 of us have a very intimate relationship. So even just outside of playing together, the subtlest head tilt, I will know exactly what Jonathan is thinking or wanting to ask me. So I think just over the years, we've become so attuned to each other's motions, thought processes, and just like what Abigail said, we have a quartet brain of its own.
It's beautiful, and I'm just, you know, kind of dissecting a little bit because you all become one, and I'm really hung up on the fact that, you know, this in spite of the fact that you all come from different cultural backgrounds and different upbringings and different environments, somehow you've been able to come together and form this beautiful, magical music and become one voice.
Yeah, I think that's part of the amazing challenge, is to be able to come together and learn from each other and really sort of enhance yourself. And then as a result, you get this sort of better byproduct that is sort of the better thing than all of us put together, really.
So before we go, because I told you it was going to be like kind of quick and short, because we want to give everybody a taste of what you're going to be presenting. What, really quickly, from each and every one of you, what have you learned from one, if you had to choose one word, what did you learn from who, and what is that word?
Oh.
From each other, one word.
Can I steal from Jonathan?
All right, Jonathan, go first.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, you wanted to go first.
I'm
Oh,
going to
okay,
steal Jonathan's word from earlier, which is
okay, go for it.
vulnerability.
Nice, nice. All right, Jonathan. Oh, Jonathan,
Oh.
on, yeah.
Oh, that's hard. I think what Dorothy just said, I agree with, is trust.
Trust, and I guess giving everyone benefit of the doubt. I know that's more than one word.
Right, that's okay. We'll let you get that one. And Jonathan, before we go.
I'll say diplomacy.
Diplomacy. I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh, what a wonderful word to end on. It's been so lovely meeting you guys. I'm sorry it was short and sweet. However, I do want to acknowledge you for making my day, because I woke up this morning to your music, and I got to tell you, you put a smile in my face, on my face, and in my heart. So thank you for being here with us. And you guys, I want you guys to know that we're just going to take a break. No, actually, we're going to take a sneak peek of what you can expect during their upcoming performance for Pro Arte Musical concert. Please welcome Verona Quartet. And there you have it. Indulging in some of that string culture. It's important to explore. Once again, Verona Quartet will be presenting in the Pro Arte Musical virtual concert November 7th, and tickets are available at tiquetera.com. You can also follow them on social media at Verona Quartet. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you miss any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight, 24 hours a day, at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide peace, prosperity, and love. And like I always say, don't forget to wear your mask. You know, make it a fashionable statement like me.